Well, we nearly pulled an all-nighter last night, but a 4.5-hour fight with the Phillies, full of exciting moments leading up to a spectacular finish. And tonight we're back at it. Game 2 against the Phillies and round 2 in this bout between division leaders. It's D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly along the way. For the longest time, last night's marathon was actually a terrific pitcher's duel, and we've got another great matchup of starters here tonight. Two of the biggest strikeout artists in the league. The Phillies' Nick Pivetta, 7th in the National League in strikeouts. Bob, Zach Greinke, 4th.
Yeah, Zach Greinke coming off his pitcher of the month in the National League for the month of July. Lost his first start in August, but the strikeout are a big part of his arsenal. 23 starts this season, 148 strikeouts, only 25 walks for Zach Greinke.
And you see Pivetta, the hard-throwing right-hander, mid-90s fastball. He's only a few strikeouts behind Zach this year.
Yeah, 113 innings on the season for Nick Pivetta, 141 punch-outs. As you said, a big arm, average fastball right around 96.
This could be another wild one. The D-backs and the Phillies coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Chase, make more of what's yours. By First Watch Restaurants, the Daytime Cafe. By Staples, the back-to-school specialty store. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs. Score free Jumbo Jacks. Only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By 1AZ Credit Union. Let's bank together. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today. We are back at it at Chase Field. David Peralta, the hero last night. D-backs and the Phillies, the second of a 3-game set. And the first pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona.
Field, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth with you. It's the D-backs and the Philadelphia Phillies, who come in 14 games over 500 and leading the National League East by a game and a half over the Atlanta Braves. Here's the lineup for Gabe Kapler's ball club tonight. And that's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Cesar Hernandez once again will lead it off at second base. Reese Hoskins out in left field. Nick Williams over in right. Carlos Santana will be at first base with Asdrubal Cabrera at short. Odubel Herrera in center. Maikel Franco at third base. Jorge Alfaro doing the catching for right-hander Nick Pivetta.
And it's a right-hander coming out to the mound for the Diamondbacks. Your Ram truck starter tonight is Zach Greinke, 34 years old. Zach's 2.96 ERA is the 5th best in the National League. He's 4th in the league in strikeouts, and tonight goes for win number 13 on the year.
Yeah, no matter where you look on the stat sheet, good numbers for Zach Greinke, up and down, 7-1 over his last 9 starts with an ERA just over 1.5. He has just been dealing.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
A.J. Pollock out in center field. David Peralta will be in left with Steven Souza Jr. over in right field. Eduardo Escobar at third base. Nick Ahmed at short. Ketel Marte at second base. Paul Goldschmidt will be over at first. As usual, Jeff Mathis behind the plate for right-hander Zach Greinke.
And behind the plate for the umpire, Shane Livensparger calling the balls and strikes. C.B. Bucknor is at first base. Chris Conroy is at second. And there's Brian Honor, the crew chief, is our third base umpire tonight. Time, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Very easy. Come on, ride the train. David Peralta, the freight train, is pretty much carrying this team on his shoulders right now. Goldie's in a little bit of a funk. A.J. Pollock has struggled to get base hits lately. Steven Souza Jr. has picked it up recently, but David Peralta is the guy that has been the constant in the middle of that lineup.
He was outstanding last night. More on that as we move along here. What a night it was for David Peralta.
Well, he played the whole game, but his night didn't really start until the 9th inning. 2 homers, a double, and a single after the 9th inning in that ball game, and a big old chunk of ice right down the back of his neck.
Last night already, David's second 4-hit game this month. He's also had a 3-hit game. D-back since the start of last season, 9-2 against the Phillies, including 4 straight wins here at Chase Field. And Cesar Hernandez, the second baseman, leads it off for the Phils. D-backs have the shift on.
You know that song, right? Come on, ride it.
Come on, ride it.
Come on, ride it. Yeah. Sing along.
There's a fastball at 88 from Greinke. I knew there had to be some kind of musical tie-in. That's right out of your wheelhouse. Hernandez just shoots it into left center. He was 1 for 6 last night. He's got a base hit to start this one. And he will run 14 for 16 in his stolen base attempts this year. Now here's Reese Hoskins, the left fielder. Hoskins hitting .261. He leads Philadelphia with 22 home runs and 72 runs batted in. Now the D-backs shift the shift over to the left-hand side of the infield. StatCast AI powered by AWS. There's a look at the D-backs defense. That slow curveball from Zach Greinke, 1-0. Hoskins is a very patient hitter up there. He sees more pitches per at bat than any player in the league. Fastball misses off the plate. It's 2-0. Here's a good slider for strike one. Hoskins last night was 0 for 4, but he was removed from the game in the 8th inning by Gabe Kapler as a defensive switch. And as a result, the Phillies wound up playing half of last night's game with their best hitter on the bench.
And that certainly worked out in the D-backs' favor. Kapler in the 8th inning pulled both Rhys Hoskins and Asdrubal Cabrera out of the ball game with a 2-0 lead, and it just backfired.
You want to talk about respecting a hitter's power. This is about as deep as you'll see the Diamondbacks play their outfield, other than the no doubles defense you occasionally see late in the game. Everybody very deep across that outfield.
This guy's a really good young hitter, only 25. Greinke back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That slider missed its full. Nick Williams, the right fielder, on deck. As always, Jeff Mathis behind the plate for Zach Greinke. Here's the 3-2. Went to that slider again. We're seeing more and more of that slider from Zach as of late. Starting to get a better feel for it.
I think it speaks to the creativity of Zach Greinke that went through a major chunk of this season without that pitch. At least not as effective as we've seen it lately, but still found a way to get hitters out and win ball games.
It was a wipeout pitch for him last year. He's really not had it this year, but it has been better lately. Missed with a fastball low, and the first 2 have reached for the Phillies. And Williams will hit. Nick Williams, 258, 15 homers. Another good young Philly prospect, 24 years old. They got a lot of good young players. That's why they're out front in the NL East. Hernandez at second, Hoskins at first, nobody out. Phillies game and a half up on the Braves. Atlanta is winning 3-1 at Washington right now. They're in the 9th inning. There's Rob Thompson, Gabe Kapler, Rob Thompson, the bench coach. Change up. 1-1.
You mentioned that Washington-Atlanta game. That's actually game 2 of a split doubleheader today.
Oh.
The Nationals won the first game 8-3 over the Braves.
D-backs, Torey Lovullo's ball club, leading the division as well. A half game up on LA atop the NL West. Williams hits a fly ball left field for Peralta. Hernandez at second, and he will hold there. Boy, the Phillies last night with runners in scoring position were 0 for 9. They did have one sacrifice fly, but they really struggled in these big spots. Here's Santana, the first baseman. 220 and 17 homers. Here's a look at the D-back defense. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, on the first base side of second. Slow curveball was up there, but he got the strike call. Santana singled and walked twice in last night's game. Made some nice, crisp defensive plays at first base as well. Ahmed sneaking in behind Hernandez at second. Fastball well in, 1-1. Santana this year has more walks than strikeouts. In fact, he walks on a Joey Votto like pace The only player in the league who's walked more this year than Santana's Bryce Harper. Big cut at the curveball. He just floated that up there, and it's 1-2.
Threw one earlier in the sequence that stayed way up in the zone. That one ends up down around the knees eventually. Really pulled the string on that curveball.
Ever since the middle of June, Zach has gone more and more to that slow curveball for outs. He's actually getting nearly twice as many outs with that curve as he was for the first 2.5 months of the year. Comes back with a hard slider, and Souza runs it down near the line. 2 outs.
Zach perhaps not quite as surgical as we've seen him in the early parts of some of his starts recently, but find a way to get out of this first inning without a run scoring and see how you settle in after that.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, the former Met. 271 batting average. He's got 20 homers. Mathis wants to talk it over. Cabrera certainly knows what he's doing up there. He's only 2 hits away from 1,500 for his career, so you got to be careful here. Acquired from New York just before the trade deadline. He's only played 9 games with the Phillies.
He's had a pretty good run against Zach Greinke in his career, however. 35 at bats for Cabrera, 15 base hits. It's a .429 average. Not too many guys can boast that against Zach Greinke.
Pretty good. Shift is still on against the switch hitter. Fastball's a strike, 0-1. Cabrera 1 for 3 last night. He singled, and as we mentioned, was taken out of the ball game in the 8th inning by Gabe Kapler. So they missed his bat over the second half of the game last night. Moving that fastball to both sides of the plate. That one a little too far in. 1-1. Cabrera's a switch hitter. He's about 270 from either side. Most of his power is as a left-hand batter. Good spot for that pitch right there. 1-2.
Yeah, Gabe Kapler burned through his bench rather quickly in that ball game last night, to the point where he had to let Tommy Hunter, one of his relief pitchers, hit for himself in extra innings.
A short bench as it was, and it's even shorter now. They made a move, sent Cousins down to the minors today. All fastball so far from Greinke, and he follows up with that curveball. Well, it's a long first for Greinke. 20 pitches. No chance to get into any kind of a tempo or rhythm. Hernandez singled. Hoskins walked. Now 2 outs and 2-2 on Cabrera. Well, Zach's leaving that slider up a little bit here so far. It's the pitcher usually trying to bury down. He's left it up a few times. Cabrera just got a piece of that one. Herrera would be next.
Seeing that more recently against all the D-backs pitchers. The foul balls running up the pitch count. We saw it all year last year with Robbie Ray, but it seems like it's affecting the entire starting rotation recently. A lot of foul balls, especially with 2 strike counts, running that pitch count up a lot higher than you'd like early in the game.
Trying to find the one that will put Cabrera away. They've tried the slider and the curveball after a lot of fastballs early in the at-bat. Phillies actually beat Zach Greinke earlier this year. We were at Citizens Bank Park back in April. He had 9 strikeouts in 6 innings, but gave up 5 earned runs in that start. D-backs lost at 5-3. And he's having to work right out of the gate here tonight. Change up away. Cabrera wouldn't bite, and it's full 3-2.
You mentioned this Phillies team has a number of guys that'll work deep counts and take their base on balls, and those are the kind of teams historically that have given Zach some problems. Guys that don't chase that changeup just off the plate or the slider just off the corner.
That's what he mentioned about the Giants in his last start, Zach Greinke. Giants beat him here last Thursday. That was Greinke's first loss since June 13th. 2 runs, 4 hits, and 6 innings. Nope, he and Mathis are not together on this.
We talk about Zach all the time. I think occasionally he'll go out to the mound in the first inning and just try to find what's working. What can I command? What can I hit corners with? What can I maybe throw by a hitter up in the zone?
Runners on the move. And he missed away with a fastball, and now they're loaded for Odubel Herrera. Second walk in the inning for Zach Greinke. And we'll keep going. Here comes Mike Butcher. Already 24 pitches in the first.
They're just missing some of the pitches when Zach tries to go to the corner. Normally he either hits the corner or in his favor, but you can see missing well off the plate with some of those off-speed deliveries. Those couple of changeups just off the plate, low and away.
So the D-backs really having to negotiate their way through this top of the first. Couple of mound visits. Pitch count already up there for Greinke. And here comes Odubel. 19 home runs, 61 RBIs, already both career highs. He had a couple of hits last night, including an RBI triple. He's got Hernandez at third, Hoskins at second, Cabrera at first. Got a first pitch fastball. AJ's there, and Greinke leaves him loaded. Diamondbacks coming up.
5-year-old right-hander out of Victoria, British Columbia. He is winless in his last 3 starts, but he's 7th in the league in strikeouts. Got a big fastball.
Yeah, big fastball, 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. Throws a curve and a slider. A rare straight changeup. Average velocity on that heater right at 95.5 miles per hour.
Look at today's Rocket Mortgage breakdown. David Peralta last night, the first player in baseball's modern era, which is since 1900, to have at least 4 hits and 2 home runs in a game, all coming in the 9th inning or later, along with 11 total bases. He'll lead it off for the D-backs. David now up to 298 with 19 home runs, a new career high. Four hits last night, the double, couple of home runs, all coming from the 9th inning on. There was the 9th inning home run that ignited the comeback, and then the walk-off winner in the 14th, the first walk-off homer of David's career. Jody really took the brunt of that one, I noticed, in the post-game celebration. It was quite a night for the freight train.
Boy, it really was. Long home run to right center field over the Ram truck's pool out there. Should have been a foreshadowing. A little blooper that fell in front of Herrera out in center field. He ripped a double down the right field line, a hustle double, and then the game winner to left field. Just measured it perfectly right off the top of the fence.
It looked like, as David can't check and strikes out, it might just be a double in the gap, but it just kept on going.
First baseman, number 44.
Valley Chevy Dealers has the D-backs lineup.
David Peralta out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt hitting second. At first base, A.J. Pollock out in center field. Eduardo Escobar will be at third base. Steven Souza Jr. out in right. Ketel Marte at second base. Nick Ahmed at short. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. And Zach Greinke swinging that bat in the 9-hole.
Here's Goldie. It's funny, when Peralta came up for the walk-off homer, he needed a triple for the cycle all after the 9th inning, and then good chance that it might have been a triple had it been an inch or 2 lower.
Yeah, good chance.
Phillies have 3 infielders on the left side, 1 and 1 on Goldie, who was 1 for 7 last night. Herrera, you can see him in center, way over toward the pool in right center field. Pivetta missing here. You'll see the velocity 95, 96. He's a hard thrower. Just over half the pitches he throws are 4-seam fastballs. Pivetta is averaging 11 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. That's among the best ratios in baseball. And he'll throw a lot of curveballs and sliders off the fastball. Pollock on deck, back in the lineup tonight.
And Pavetta's only 25 years old. We talked about Jake Arrieta and the influence he has on some of these young pitchers in this Phillies rotation. I think Pivetta is a guy that could really benefit from watching the way Jake Arrieta goes about his business.
Yeah, Pivetta can put up some big strikeout numbers. 3 double-digit strikeout games this year already. His career high is 13. That was against St. Louis back in June. Goldie's got a base hit.
Center field, number 11, A.J. Pollock.
Fastball down below the knees off the inside corner and somehow gets inside of it, shoots it through that right side. Big hole on the right side for Goldie. Took advantage that time.
A.J. Pollock back in the starting lineup. 283, 15 home runs. Got an extra off day for the most part yesterday. Little leg fatigue. Here's the Pivetta curveball. It's a good looking young pitcher here, Nick Pivetta.
I don't know who he learned it from, but he wants to work at a very quick pace. He gets the throws back from Alfaro and he's right back up on that rubber ready to get a sign and go again.
Well, Pavetta's out of, as we mentioned, British Columbia. Played his college ball at New Mexico Junior College.
and was a 4th-round pick there by the Washington Nationals in 2013. He is the player the Phillies got in return when they dealt Jonathan Papelbon to Washington at the trade deadline a few years ago. It shows you the value of some of these rent-a-player trade deadline moves. You get a young arm like this and you never know what he turns into.
Occasionally you hit on one. Yeah, I mentioned Pavetta's pace out there on the mound, and we've seen this with Clay Buchholz this year with the Diamondbacks. Guys that have pitched in the minor leagues recently since the clock was instituted tend to work at a faster pace.
That's what they're looking for. Get everybody used to it. That's belted just foul. They got a hanging curveball. See where that pitch was.
Looks like it just kind of rolled up there on the inner third of the plate, maybe even a little farther in. He just couldn't keep it fair. Right on that inner third, down around knee high. Look out, Brian O'Nora.
Coming in hot.
Well, it was our key to the ball game last night, but it bears repeating playing the Phillies again tonight. Put some pressure on this defense. They can kick it around and throw it around with the best of them. Diamondbacks didn't have a lot of base runners early in the game last night to test their defense.
Arrieta was just dominant for 8 innings. AJ can't check on the high fastball. That's 2 strikeouts for Pivetta. E.D. Marshall Jewelers a look around the diamond at the Phillies defense.
Rhys Hoskins in left field. Odubel Herrera in center. Nick Williams will be over in right field. Maikel Franco at third base. As Drubal Cabrera at shortstop. Cesar Hernandez will be at second base. Carlos Santana at first. Jorge Alfaro doing the catching for the young right-hander Nick Pivetta.
And Eduardo Escobar in the cleanup spot. 278. He's got 15 homers. Escobar doubled twice and walked last night. Now with 41 doubles on the year, that's the most in the major leagues. He's got Goldie at first, 2 outs. Punches that one foul.
You know, I will say this about Eduardo Escobar. When he's in the other league, you know, you see the numbers, but you don't really see a guy play. And how does he go about getting those numbers? He's hit his share of balls down the line and in the gaps, but he's gotten a lot of doubles just hustling out of the batter's box. His double in the ball game last night was just a little blooper out to left field, but busted it out of the box, turned the corner hard at first, and turned it into a double.
Yeah, when you consider the fact that he switch hits, he's terrific in the clubhouse, plays a very good defensive third base. You got a real gem here. A terrific all-around player. Chases that curveball though, and it's 0-2. Goldie's not run a whole lot this year. He's 4 for 7 in his stolen base attempts. That aspect of his game is slowed a bit. Diamondbacks have not been nearly as aggressive this year as they have in recent seasons. We got some sluggers in this lineup. Once you get them all healthy and in there, you don't want to make any outs on the bases.
And Torey Lovullo insists since the early part of the season last year when the Diamondbacks were running the bases like a track team that opposing teams have started to counterpunch a little bit more, hold the ball on the mound, vary deliveries, throw over to first base. So certainly that has slowed down the running game some. And I would imagine the analytics enter into it as well. You know, when is a good time to steal? What's a good percentage? You better make it at least 80 or 85% of the time, or it's probably not worth the risk.
Goldie's stolen base numbers 18, 15, 21, 32 a couple of years ago. 18 stolen bases last year. He's got over 120 steals in his career.
Well, Alfaro's got a cannon behind the plate. That's another deterrent.
He is #1 in the majors in terms of throwing out attempted base stealers. Jorge Alfaro, the Phillies catcher.
Talking about Goldie and stolen bases, it was pointed out last night Tony Womack is the franchise leader in stolen bases with 182. Goldie is second on that list with 121. Chris Young also on the list, A.J. Pollock, Eric Burns, but I'm a little surprised that Goldie was that high on the stolen base list too.
Number 2, of course, A.J.'s missed a lot of time with injuries, otherwise he'd likely be a lot higher. There's that fastball at 96 from Pivetta. Pivetta's a skinny guy. It's not your typical big power right-hander for a guy who throws so hard. He's 6'5", 220. He's a skinny 220. Those were the days. This is driven to center. Odubel Herrera's on the run, and he's got it on the warning track. Pivetta strands Goldie, no score after 1.
As we head to the second, but the Diamondbacks possibly still feeling the excitement in the aftermath of that extra innings victory last night, which prompted Torey to say that game couldn't have come at a better time for the team, because that's the type of game the Diamondbacks are used to. We saw a lot of them in the past, but this year they've come just in spurts, those close games where the Diamondbacks just never really feel out of it. They believe in each other. They're trying to go after those different opportunities. Well, last night's game, guys, might be one of those at the end of the season you look back and say that was the difference maker. That could be the momentum change, as Torey called it, one of those push wins that can propel you into that next game. You get that winning spirit, the vibe, the team comes together. And Bob, I don't know if you can remember back to some of those winning years for you, if there were some games where once you get home, October, November, you look back on it and you're like, yep, I remember that win and how it really helped or changed our team after that.
You know, Kate, I don't recall specific games. Our guys were so boring. You know, they were a bunch of old dudes. They just wanted to go out and play baseball, win or lose. We get to come back and do it again tomorrow. I don't really recall right off the top of my head any real spine-tingling wins that propelled us. They just showed up and played every day.
I think momentum, that the word that Kate used, is spot on. It's certainly the type of win that can create that for you. Just get you on a roll. Maikel Franco leads off the second. Broken bat roller in the hole. Escobar in front of Ahmed.
Just glides across that infield. Boy, with the range that Nick Ahmed has at shortstop and the range that Escobar has shown at third base, that left side's in pretty good hands.
Jorge Alfaro, Phillies catcher. He caught all 14 innings last night. Back out there tonight. 254, 7 homers. 0 for 4 with an RBI in last night's game. There's that curveball from Greinke. D-backs a half game up on the Dodgers atop the NL West. Dodgers tonight opening up a 6-game road trip, 2 in Oakland. That game has just gotten started. And then Ford, Colorado starting on Thursday. Rockies hosting Pittsburgh tonight, and the Pirates lead 10-0 at Coors Field. The Giants 6.5 back this afternoon. They blew a late 1-0 lead at home and lost to Houston 2-1. So the Giants have lost. The Rockies are just getting clobbered, and the Dodgers just underway in Oakland. Face to high fastball. 1-2.
I'm sorry, partner. Chad Bettis got banged around for the Rockies today. Gave up 9 earned runs in 4 2/3. There were 3 home runs. Starling Marte, Jordy Mercer, and Josh Harrison for the Pirates.
Coors Field. Boy, Jordy Mercer, every once in a while he'll hit one about 440 on you. And there's a foul ball. Another slider from Greinke. Most wins in the National League. Cubs and Brewers have 65. D-backs and Phillies right behind with 63. As Alfaro strikes out. First strikeout for Greinke.
Season tickets are on sale now for 2019. Secure the best seats for the lowest price and lock in benefits, including postseason priority access to player events, discounts on merchandise, and my personal favorite, much more. Call now 602-462-4600 or log on to dbacks.com/tickets.
The pitcher Nick Pivetta does have 4 hits this year, including a double. I don't think you need any more. We've started to get some great stuff in the mail lately. Stuff's pouring in. A lot of letters from our D-backs viewers. Thank you guys for writing. We'll get to some of those tonight, I promise. They're starting to pile up in the mailroom. Your staff is sorting, going through those.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, it's what they claim they're doing. I end up doing most of it. But the response has been great. The old-fashioned postage stamp envelope, old school. The snail mail. A lot of D-backs viewers writing into you and I with questions, comments, whatever. We'll get to some of those later on. But the response has been terrific, so thanks everyone who has written in and sent us some stuff.
Yes, cool stuff.
Not that we're looking for stuff.
No,
we don't want you to go out of your way. Well, Pavetta's worked it full, 3-2. Hernandez, who singled to start the ball game, would be next. And walk the pitcher. That's the 3rd walk through the first 9 batters for Zach Greinke. And Zach said his problem last week when he lost to the Giants was command. It wasn't quite as good as it's been. And of course the Giants didn't chase, much like the Phillies don't. They're a very patient ball club, as Bob mentioned. So a bumpy start here for Greinke. 2 outs. Pivetta at first. Here's Hernandez. He's already got a base hit. Shift is on. D-backs have already this year shifted 200 more times than they did all of last season. So it's really become standard to do it with virtually every hitter on the opposition. Dave McKay positions the outfielders. Tony Perez-Chica the infielders.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks had 749 shifts all season last year. They've already had 954 this year.
How about that, huh?
And it should be pointed out, a shift is only counted when the ball is put into play. Strikeouts and walks hit batters. None of that stuff enters into the shift data.
Most likely a whole lot more often than that number, too.
Well, if you're interested in reading about the shifts, the Arizona Snake Pit had a real nice article today showing how beneficial those shifts have been for the Diamondbacks this season.
Guys at Snake Pit do a terrific job covering the Diamondbacks. D-backs discussions online. Goldie playing behind the runner Pavetta over there at first. Here's the 2-1. Missing with that changeup. He's missed badly, frankly, with that changeup a number of times so far. Way off the plate. Hoskins on deck. Well, Zach Greinke has faced 10 batters so far and walked 4 of them, including the pitcher. Hoskins walked his first time up. He's up there now, 2 on and 2 out.
And already to the 44 pitch mark here in the second inning. Now we know he's capable of putting up some real quick pitch innings in the middle part of the ball game, and he's going to need to if he wants to pitch deep into this one.
Pavetta's at second, Hernandez at first, 2 outs. Hoskins a dangerous hitter up there.
Hoskins looks like one of those guys that a scout was driving down a country road and saw him throwing hay bales up into the top of a barn somewhere. Big strapping young man, really strong.
Out of Cal State Sacramento, a 5th round pick by the Phillies 4 years ago. There's the curveball. That's going to reach the seats. Hoskins last 16 games has 8 homers and 15 RBIs. So he's done a lot of damage lately. Missed with a fastball, 1-1. Greinke able to leave the bases loaded in the first. Now 2 on 2 out in the second. 4 walks by Zach Greinke has already equaled his season high. He walked 4 Pirates in the middle of June, lost that game 5-4. Hoskins spits on a curveball. The first inning or so, Bob, as you mentioned, as always, it seems for Zach Greinke a search for the best pitch, the one that's working off the fastball. And it doesn't look like he's found one yet. Approaching 50 pitches here. He's only got 5 outs.
We've seen a lot of those inside moves to second base tonight already in the first couple innings of this game for Zach Greinke. I think more so than shortening up the runner's lead or trying to pick him off, he just doesn't want to have to shake off Jeff Mathis again. So you fake the pickoff move to second base.
There's Escobar, long throw right on the money. And once again, Greinke wiggles off the hook. It stays scoreless.
Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Oh boy, a long day for the Rockies. 2 games behind the D-backs NL West lead. Pittsburgh beating up Colorado 10-2. They're in the 6th inning at Coors Field.
Well, that's a ballpark. Torrey likes to talk about playing downhill baseball. It seems like if somebody hits 1 home run in that game, you're going to see a whole bunch of home runs in Coors Field.
I think that Rockies pitching staff may be starting to fade just a bit. Dodgers are on the board at Oakland. They have the early lead on the A's 1-0 with Rich Hill on the mound. Steven Souza Jr. leads off the D-backs second against Nick Pivetta. Souza 252 and 3 homers. One of the heroes from last night. Phillies have the overshift on the third base side. There's a fastball for ball 1. Souza had a pair of hits last night. He doubled and then had the game tying single in the 9th that forced extra innings. There's a look at the spray chart for Souza. This was the big hit from Souza after Peralta had homered. Escobar had doubled. He sends Escobar home with a tying run.
To go down and dig that one out. A low pitch down below the knees and lined it right back up the middle.
Good curveball from Pivetta. 1-2. I want to thank Steven Souza Jr. and Nick Ahmed. Both guys soldiered on. They got up early this morning for us, and we filmed a couple of episodes. A cup of coffee, and those are coming up very shortly, actually. Josh Kellman, our producer down there, the whole crew. August 19th, we'll have the Steven Souza Jr. cup of coffee, and then Nick Ahmed September 2nd. So thanks again to both those guys for coming down, spending some time with us. Full count, 3-2. Had a great time down there at First Watch. Boy, that place is tremendous. That was my first visit to First Watch.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow. Everything was so fresh. Souza was taking food out of there like he was starving. I'll take that. He had the avocado toast. He was all over that this morning. And then we were down there up near DC Ranch. And the debut of Steven, as directed by Steven Souza Jr. coming up on August 19th. That's a Sunday, Fox Sports Arizona. And then Nick Ahmed coming up shortly after that in September. Out in front, but able to get a piece of that curveball. Still 3-2. This is a Steven Souza Jr. Tremendous guy. Very engaging. He's been through a lot. And he's got a great perspective on his journey through the minor leagues, now with his 3rd organization, where he's at right now. A lot of interesting things to say. And he gets rung up on a low fastball. Boy, Pivetta just dotted that one on the knees at 97, and he's got his 3rd strikeout.
Steven actually got new life in that at bat. Home plate umpire Shane Livensparger missed a pitch earlier in this sequence. 95 right on the outside corner, comes back with 97 down at the bottom of the knees.
Ketel Marte back at second base tonight, 257. He's got 10 home runs. Ketel singled as a pinch hitter last night. He's hit safely now in 5 straight games. Franco is in at third just a bit. Both feet on the grass down there. Pivetta doing a good job of keeping that fastball down. There's a look at Maikel Franco. Now he'll back off just a hair. Pavetta's got a good lather going here. He has struck out 3 of the first 5 he's faced.
And you can see that sweat starting to discolor his hat. Worked about halfway up the crown of that hat so far.
Well, he's from Canada. He's from Victoria, British Columbia. You don't find 116 degrees.
Really?
At least that's what they tell me. It was hot out there today, boy. Nick Ahmed on deck. '97. Here it is. Hit it. 3-2. Jorge Alfaro behind the plate.
Let's go. Your pitcher's waiting.
Yeah, it took too long.
Yeah, see, that's on the catcher right there. We put a lot on the pitcher's plate to come on, throw the ball. You're taking too much time, but occasionally it's the catcher. Buster Posey does that a lot. He'll stare at the ground out in front of home plate and then look over to the bench and then look into the on deck circle and then look up at the hitter.
Catchers. Well, he's got to think about what finger he wants. He's got to check the chart.
Check the cheat sheet.
Look into the dugout, see if they want to call the pitch from in there. He's got a lot of stuff to manage out there. All right, he's got the tendencies and the strengths, double checks.
Boy, if you got to look back a second time, I'm a little scared.
It's all written down right there. All that for a fastball in. Marte, base hit. Baez dribble Cabrera. Big turn from Cattell, a 1-out single. So make it a 6-game hitting streak. Here comes Nick Ahmed.
I won't mention any names to protect the innocent, but my old buddy Mike Krukow pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies early on in his career. And there was a young catcher in the system at the time, and Kruk tells the story that the guy would hang signs down, but he would have to look at his own signs to make sure he was giving the right fingers. So Mike said he's standing out on a mountain. All he could see was the top of the catcher's helmet because he was looking down between his own legs to see what signs he was giving.
How long that guy last?
Not long.
Nick, 244, 16 home runs. D-backs single season record for home runs by a shortstop is 21. That was Stephen Drew back in 08. Nick's got a chance to break that mark this year the way he's going. Curveball well inside, 1-0.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run today means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Nick checking in with Tony Perez Chica coaching at third. Nick grew up in western Massachusetts, right near Springfield, Mass, where they have the Basketball Hall of Fame. Nick, a big basketball player growing up as a kid in western Mass. Usually you think, oh, you got Patrick Corbin, you got Taijuan Walker, you got Ryan DePanfilo, the trainer who might be the best basketball player on the team. And then Nick's a big baller.
Ah, those were the days back when I played. We used to have a basketball team that would go play exhibition games against school faculties or the Chamber of Commerce. That was a lot of fun. Obviously extremely dangerous, but it sure was a lot of fun. Didn't Aaron Boone blow out his knee playing hoops in the offseason one year?
That's how A-Rod ended up a Yankee, actually. They had to go get somebody. There's a dribbler up the middle. Cabrera steps on a bag and turns to himself. We'll head to the third. D-backs and Phillies, no scores. Charity raffle presented by the Arizona Lottery. From home, along with all of us at the ballpark, you can win half the pot and help the kids in our community. Get your tickets online at dbacks.com/5050 raffle for every D-backs home game on Fox Sports Arizona, and they show you the winning number during the post-game show. Right now, the jackpot already well over $7,000 as Nick Williams leads off the third. D-backs have the shift on the first base side. Williams flying out his first time up. This is a fly ball hit deep to right field. And that ball is gone. And Souza hit the fence awfully hard. Nick Williams is 16th, and it's 1-0 Phillies. And it's the 20th home run given up this year by Zack Greinke in his 24th start. Souza shaken up, but appears to be okay.
Well, we bring this up every time Zach gives up a home run. Number 20 on the season. However, 16 of those have been just like this, solo home runs. Barely over the barrier out there in right. Souza gives it a good effort. Tries to get a foot into that fence and reach up over, but just couldn't quite get there.
No one from the medical staff running out there to take a look, so that's a good sign. Williams' first hit in the series. And here's Carlos Santana. One more look at Steven Souza Jr.
Last peek at the fence, tried to get that right foot into the chain link to boost himself up a little bit higher, but just couldn't quite get there.
Boy, you get that cleat caught in that chain link, bad things can happen, man. Zack Greinke at 50 pitches, only 28 for strikes. 0-1 on Santana. He lined out to right his first time. Now he's going to line out to center. Well, that's the fourth fly ball out for Greinke so far. Cabrera walked his first time up.
We're seeing Steven Souza Jr. go into that chain link fence out there in right field. Reminds me of a story I've told before about how guys get nicknames sometimes. I was playing or coaching with the Giants rather at the time. We had an outfielder by the name of Jim Weaver. And I don't even remember who hit the ball or who we were playing against, but somebody hit the ball like that over his head. He ran back to the fence at Candlestick, made a leaping attempt, and went face first into the chain link. Ooh. Now, when he came back into the dugout, it looked like he had fallen asleep on a waffle iron. Perfect little squares on his right cheek where the chain link had left an imprint on his face. So first it was waffle face.
That doesn't roll off the tongue.
Then it went to chain link Weaver, and then it just got shortened to Link Weaver, which turned out to be a great nickname. He carried it for the rest of his career. Link. Didn't like waffle face, huh?
Yeah. Takes too long to say.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those nicknames, they just come by him naturally. We had a double play combination when I was in A-ball that could never turn a double play.
That's why they were in A-ball.
Yeah. Well, they were nicknamed Shake and Bake.
Like Ricky Bobby?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it just seemed to fit because every time one of them would field the ground ball, his hands would start shaking and the other guy would come across the bag too fast because the feed was late. So we just called him Shake and Bake.
Escobar, the third baseman, replaces Ahmed in the shift as Nick slides over to a shortstop spot. 2-2 on Cabrera. D-backs usually do that with 2 strikes on the hitter. And that's wide. Right to Escobar. 5-3. 2 down.
You know, we saw Odubel Herrera in the ball game last night really demonstrate the kind of hitter that he is. He hit a triple on a pitch that was down around his ankles. Watch him go down and get this low pitch from Zach Godley and rifle it into the gap in right center. He loves that ball down in the zone. That one rolled all the way to the wall. Another pitch down in the zone later in the ball game. He lines that one to the right side of the infield, legs it out for an infield hit, but another rope off the bat on a pitch down. And with a control pitcher like Greinke, I would expect him to work up in the zone, throw those four seamers across the top of the zone, maybe try to get him to chase something a little bit lower than low.
Well, I can tell you why he likes those low pitches, because he can't see over his batting helmet. It keeps falling down over his eyes. That was happening all night last night.
Yeah, that triple to the gap in right center. He stood in the batter's box for a moment because he didn't know where the ball went.
Can't see. They cut at that changeup.
That's the lower than low I was talking about. Make him think it's going to be a pitch at the bottom of the strike zone where he likes it, and then let it fade a little bit lower than that. And once again, the helmet spinning around on the head of Odubel Herrera.
That would make a great bobblehead. You got Odubel screwing himself into the ground. The helmet's way over the face. Michael Franco on deck. Greinke 60 pitches, 34 strikes. He's already walked 4. One more time to second. This time it's backhanded by Marte. But the Phillies get on the board. Nick Williams homer makes it 1-0 Philadelphia.
Their team photo today, and with many schools in the Valley back in session, had a little fun with the guys today in the clubhouse, like high school yearbook style, asking them, you know, most likely to succeed. They said outside the game of baseball, they thought Andrew Chafin, they said he's really into plane stuff. He could be a good pilot. They also said Nick Ahmed, because of course he went to, quote, a good university. As for who the clubhouse clown is, the obvious, well, Archie. The sneaky funny one, TJ McFarland. Meanwhile, they said Souza, also pretty funny himself. Best dressed, hands down, went to Alex Avila.
Look out, BB. Oh, sorry, Kate. BB almost took a foul ball there.
Well, interesting. So maybe he would be voted most athletic, right?
Well, not on that play based on what I've seen.
Uh-oh, not good. As for Torrey, though, guys, I did ask him when he graduated high school if he was voted anything, and he said most likely to appear on Sports Illustrated magazine cover. That has yet to happen. However, successful season, you never know what could happen.
I like it. I thought you were going to get hung out to dry on that one. It was coming right at us.
I was tunneling that ball all the way. I could tell it was going to be too low, so no worries.
0-2. Just throw a member of your staff out in front of the equipment. Almost hit some of our paperweights that we got in the mail today. Don't want to lose those. 0-2 on Mathis. Somebody was nice enough to send us some very lovely paperweights that were decorated.
Yeah, Jeannie and Greg Knapp. Winners, California and Mesa, Colorado. I guess maybe they got together in the middle somewhere. Jeannie and Greg Knapp sent us some paperweights. We were complaining about the wind, a couple of different ballparks on the road as Mathis looked at a strike 3. So they fashioned these great paperweights out of what appears to be smooth, small river rocks. This one's got the snake on it.
That's cool. Look at that.
Yeah, and this one with the D-back logo. Whoops, I got it upside down. But yeah, these are just rocks that have been painted, and great job by Jeannie and Greg Knapp.
Yeah, that's out of Jean's Jungle hand painted art. She's an animal artist. So thanks very much.
Yeah, those come in handy. Some of the places we go on the road, they don't have roofs, believe it or not, in every ballpark. And occasionally that wind blows all of our papers out into the upper deck.
Stuff's flying everywhere. There's Greinke. Yeah, we got to get into the mailbag. I mentioned the other day that we had a flood of letters from people with some connection to Coshocton, Ohio.
There's not that many of us.
Well, you'd be surprised based on the letters we've gotten in the mail. So many viewers are writing us. 0-2 on Greinke. We got one today from Chuck Krupp. Hi, Chuck. He's writing us from Glendale, but he says, my wife and I have been following the D-backs since the very beginning. When we moved to Arizona from Ohio, my wife Cindy is from Baltic, Ohio.
Oh, Baltic. Oh, man, a lot of Brenleys in the Baltic area.
And he says it's very close to Coshocton. That fastball just missed. And my wife, this is supposed to be a surprise, so I hope Chuck and Cindy are watching. My wife has the same aunt as Bob. Bob's Aunt Norma married my wife's Uncle Joe.
Yeah.
How about that? That's foul down the line. So
no kidding.
Cindy is not aware that I wrote this letter to you. I would like to surprise her. Hope this works out. So I hope it does too, Chuck. Thanks very much for your letter.
Absolutely. I get a care package from Baltic, Ohio every Christmas with trail bologna and variety of different kind of cheeses. I mean, that's good stuff.
Trail bologna?
Yeah, it's a little like summer sausage, but it's a delicacy in Central Ohio.
I'm sure it is. Greinke to Santana. Pavetta covers it. What exactly is trail bologna made out of? Because frankly, it doesn't sound all that appetizing.
Use your imagination. But
I'm afraid to.
All I know is it's good. You know, they have that old saying about sausage. You don't want to see how it's made. You just like the end product. Well, that's kind of like trail bologna too.
And there's David Peralta. Now we got another one from Joan Keating, who wrote us from Mesa. Thank you very much for the lovely card, Joan. She says, my girlfriends and I enjoy seeing you all the games. There's always laughter, and she watches the games with her girlfriends, so they get together, watch D-backs baseball. Bob, we are really from Euclid, Ohio. And they they're from a long line of D-backs fans. Joan Keating from Mesa from Euclid, Ohio.
Yeah,
is that
Cleveland?
Near? Okay.
Yep.
So the state of Ohio, they got a lot of
trail bologna.
Trail bologna. Peralta's got another base hit. There's a 2-out single. And it brings up Goldie.
Like the big curveball that time from Pavetta. Just off the outside corner, but up enough that David Peralta can shoot it right past Franco into left field for a 2-out base hit.
It's the third hit for the Diamondbacks. Goldie has one. He singled his first time up. Got the slider. Phillies have the shift on. Got a letter here from Dave and Marcy Moody. They're from Prescott. Dave and Marcy Moody. Hi, guys. They've become avid D-backs fans.
And Marcy grew up in Ashtabula, Ohio. And she enjoys or did enjoy the Ghilardi show that you mentioned back in the day. So thanks very much, Dave and Marcy Moody from Prescott, for your letter. Ashtabula in the house.
It's also up northern Ohio, up near Cleveland, or in that vicinity anyway.
Ghilardi was like a TV magician.
No, he was he had a late Friday night show, and would usually come on after the local news. And the guy had a goatee and glasses with one of the lenses knocked out and crazy hair, and he would blow up model cars and
that's it.
Yeah, animals and things like not real animals, plastic animals, and had all kinds of theme music. Was a big fan of polka music.
Who isn't, frankly?
So yeah, Ghilardi was that was must-see TV back in the day on Friday nights.
So we have heard from the Ohio contingent, and thanks again everybody for all the letters that have been coming in. Keep them coming. We'll try to get to as many as we can over the course of the year. AJ on deck, 3-1 to Goldie. Pavetta will mix up that curveball and slider. That was the slider right there. Now it's full 3-2. He's struck out 4 so far. He's not walked a batter. Santana backs up now at first, playing behind Peralta. Will be off with the pitch. There goes David. And Goldie knocks it foul. A fastball right down the middle. Dodgers have a 2-0 lead in Oakland. They're in the second inning. Rockies losing at home to Pittsburgh 10-2 at Coors Field. They're in the 8th.
Come on, Mel, do something.
He got time. They're up against Rich Hill. Once more on 3-2. There goes Peralta. Got the slider again that time. Jeff Mathis. Oh, snatched the pebble from my hand, Grasshopper.
He caught it with a changeup grip, a left-handed changeup grip.
There goes David one more time. There's the slider. Santana in foul ground has got it. We head to the 4th. D-backs trail the Phillies 1-0.
MLB at Bat, your #1 D-backs app. You can customize your experience. Catch every moment this year. Get D-backs home screen icons, features like the MLB.TV game of the day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, the whole thing. Download MLB at Bat today.
Well, that'll really come in handy come pennant race time. You know,
yeah.
Here at the ballpark watching the D-backs play, you can dial up the Dodger game or the Rocky game.
Oh, get it, Ketel Marte. Boy, he ran a mile to get to that one. And they retire Franco to start the 4th.
Well, a little higher in the air tonight. You may recall last night Goldie had to run one down in foul territory with an exaggerated right-handed pull shift on, and there was no second baseman to back him up. Goldie had to go out there, make a great over-the-shoulder catch.
The catcher Jorge Alfaro struck out his first time up. He's still hitless in the series. I'm very proud to announce I'm now up to 4 and beat the streak. I got on Peralta and Goldie here tonight, so big 4 over here.
Let me just take a look here. I forget. I think I'm up to 2.
Stay hot.
That's tonight. I got a David Peralta hitting the ball game here, and Javier Baez with a base hit against the Royals already tonight.
Baez is killing the ball lately. Cubbies up 5-0 in Kansas City in the 9th inning. Brewers trying to keep pace. They're losing at home to the Padres 7-5. Pittsburgh leads at Colorado 10-2 in the National League Central. And Alfaro strikes out. That's just the second strikeout for Zach Greinke.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Our group has frankly embarrassed itself this year, and well, in a lot of ways, but beat the streak. Not going well.
Not at all.
Our producer Brad the Big Dog Weimer had a nice run, but he got up in a pretty good double digits there for a while, almost to 20. That's an app you can download for free. Play along with us. We have some fun with it. Beat the streak, trying to pick 1 or 2 major league players every night, trying to put together a 56-game hitting streak.
I'm being told that Gracie's up to 8.
Gracie's addicted to beat the streak. We showed him the other day, and now he can't stop. He's got his youngster playing it. Curveball just off the plate. Good call there by Shane Livensparger. 1-2. Here's a fastball low. The cooler, he who shall go unnamed, got so disgusted with his beat the streak performance he just stopped playing.
Well, the way our group has gone this year, you get 1 or 2 and then retire because you might win the season battle.
Exactly right. Looks at a slider. Greinke has now retired 6 in a row. But the D-backs trail at 1-0. When we come back, AJ leads off the whole half of the 4th.
history. Luis Gonzalez, number 20, retired by the Diamondbacks organization. Of course, Jackie Robinson's number was retired back in 1997 universally, but Luis Gonzalez, the first player for the Diamondbacks to have his number retired on this day in 2010.
And well deserved. One of the great pleasures of our job is getting to work with Gonzo over the course of the year. Fills in for you when you're on assignment. A great D-backs representative all over the state of Arizona. A.J. Pollock leads off the fourth against Nick Pivetta.
You know, really for Gonzo, it goes well beyond that. He played for a couple of other teams in his career, where those shall remain unnamed, but he's made friends everywhere. You go with Gonzo to any road park, and every usher, every security guard, the clubhouse attendants, the parking lot attendants, everybody knows Gonzo.
And he knows them and knows their names.
Yep.
Oh, this is the guy that helped me with the thing that time, and this is the guy that gave me a ride to the airport, and it is remarkable. Now Gonzo walks around with those things in his ears all the time, listening to Augusta Green Jackets baseball games. His son Jacob playing in the Giant system. Didn't go, says C.B. Bucknor. That's by Franco and into left. A leadoff single for A.J. in the fourth.
Yeah, waited on that curveball nicely. Rolls up there right in the middle of the strike zone. A little bit of a top spin grounder. Gets it past Franco into left field for a leadoff nine. Make it count.
Well, the top three hitters in the D-backs order, Peralta, Goldie, Pollock, all have singles against Pivetta. Ketel Marte has the other D-backs hit. Here's Escobar, who flew out deep to center to win the first. Seems like he's done that a lot lately. When he doesn't get a base hit, he hits a loud, long fly ball out. A.J. 10 for 12 in his stolen base attempts this year. Tonight's lineup actually pretty solid offensive grouping that Torey Lovullo was able to put together top to bottom. And Escobar in this spot really works well. He's certainly not your traditional type cleanup man, but late in the game when a right-hand reliever is trying to work his way through this order, he'll have to get through Escobar's left-hand AB to get to Steven Souza, who's on deck. And that one drops into very shallow center. And a couple of singles open up the D-backs fourth, and here comes Steven Souza.
As you said earlier, most of them are hard hit balls, but even when he doesn't square it up, he finds grass in the outfield. Little floater just over the glove of Cabrera into center field.
And Souza's another guy who's really been barreling up the baseball lately. Got caught looking his first time up. He's got A.J. at second, Escobar at first, nobody out. D-backs have out-hit the Phillies 5-2, but they trail it 1-0. Nick Williams homer in the third. The game's only run so far. Souza looks at a fastball, 0-1. Steven has hit safely in 3 straight games, 11 of his last 13. And in those last 13 games, he's got 14 runs batted in. Fastball in, 1-1. Nick Pavetta's season got off to a nice start. He was 4-2 in the middle of May. But since then, just 2-7. And despite some big strikeout numbers, the overall numbers just haven't quite been there for him, not consistently anyway. Winless in his last 3 starts. Alfaro able to block that slider. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Somewhat of a rarity. Alfaro is dead last in the major league in blocking percentage on pitches in the dirt.
Well, this guy was one of the top catching prospects in the game a few years ago when he was in the Texas Rangers system, and it just hasn't quite gotten there to where some of the scouts thought it might. Pavetta now at 70 pitches. There's a good fastball, 2-2.
Yeah, Alfaro's on one end. Most of the Diamondbacks catchers are on the other end of that block percentage list for catchers. Number 1 in all of the major leagues is Tucker Barnhart of the Cincinnati Reds, but number 2 on the list, Diamondbacks' Jeff Mathis.
I believe it.
John Ryan Murphy is 9th. Alex Avila is 10th out of 40 qualifying catchers.
Easy play for Hernandez. A high chopper right to the bag at second. And that's a double play as AJ gets into third. Second ground ball double play induced by Nick Pavetta. Those are the numbers.
Yeah, you see the numbers. I mean, just raw numbers. Jeff Mathis has had 299 pitches in the dirt this year. He's blocked 289 of them.
Well, looking for a 2-out base hit from Ketel Marte to tie the game. Marte singled his first time up. Pops it up. Hernandez drifting out there from second. And Herrera calls him off. We're through 4. D-backs trail at 1-0.
As we head to the top half of the 5th, fans receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos. Sign up for the card today.
Leadoff man Cesar Hernandez leads off the 5th against Zach Greinke. Hernandez has singled and walked. D-backs have the shift on. And he hits right into it. Goldie knocks it down. Greinke covers. What a play.
I'll tell you, it's a testament to how good Goldie and Greinke have worked together on plays just like this that you're shocked when they don't get the out at first base. Goldie diving far to his right, fires from a knee as usual, right on the money, leading Greinke to the bag, and easy out.
Well, Greinke, who walked 4 of the first 10 batters he faced tonight, is starting to settle in. He's retired 7 straight since Nick Williams' home run that led off the 3rd. And now here's Rhys Hoskins, who has walked and grounded out. There's the curveball, and he steals strike 1.
Boy, before that strike 1 curveball, the last 3 pitches in this ball game had resulted in 4 outs.
How about that? Moving along. Dodgers now have a 3-0 lead in Oakland. They're in the 3rd. Rockies trailing at home against Pittsburgh 10-2. They're in the 9th inning at Coors Field. Giants lost to Houston today. There's a fastball, a bullet. Marte is there. How about this infield defense? Run prevention. 2 great examples of it right there. This is the best defensive team in the game.
Well, they're always positioned properly, and then great hands, great arms, great quickness all the way around the infield right now.
As Torrey likes to say, you've got Ahmed and Marte doing that hocus pocus stuff up the middle. 2 outs on 4 pitches for Greinke. That'll help that pitch count get back to a reasonable level. Williams has the game's only run, his 16th home run of the year. In the 3rd, the Phillies right fielder. This was the play on which Steven Souza Jr. went up into that wall and was shaken up for a bit. Fortunately, just fine. Williams out of Galveston, Texas, 2nd-round pick out of high school there by the Rangers in 2012. Phillies got him as part of a Cole Hamels deal a few years ago. He hits another one pretty deep. AJ's out there in center. It's a 7-pitch 5th for Greinke, who set down 9 straight, but trails it 1-0. Games on TV. Stream them live on your mobile device. Use Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona. And the D-backs with you wherever you go. BB, a big shout out to Peg and Andy Fritz.
Yes.
Andy's been on the Fritz lately. He's recovering from a procedure. Peg took the night off from the press room here. And we know they're watching the Diamondbacks. They never miss a game.
And we want to wish Andy all the best. Get back here soon. So big hello to the king and queen of Queen Creek. All right, to Cabrera at shortstop. I did notice, however, the food was a little better today. I'm not. It seems a little weird. Peg. Calm down, Peg. I'm just kidding.
Peg's driving into the ballpark as we speak to take care of that.
She's going to ride in here on a horse. But Andy is our, we like to call him our broadcast consultant. He comes in here and he has tips for you and you and I on how to make the broadcast better. And maybe one day we might listen. So we get back here real soon. We miss you guys. Mathis struck out looking his first time.
Well, Peg may have taken the day off from work, but you know she played beat the street tonight.
She's really good too.
Yes, she is.
She's got a great system. She was up to 8 or 9 one time. I said, "Who'd you pick today?" And she said, "I picked Mookie Betts because I like the name Mookie."
Not a bad choice.
Very scientific. And then one time she had Evan Longoria because she knew Eva Longoria was an actress that she knew, so she picked Evan Longoria, and he got a hit.
Well, works as good as my theory.
We're better, maybe. 1 and 2.
Check the numbers, watch the video. Nothing.
Well, you're just getting some bad info from your staff.
It's a daily occurrence.
Mathis lays off the high fastball. Greinke in the on deck circle. Zach right now sitting on 77 pitches through 5 innings. That's a good fastball right there from Pivetta. And he gets his 5th strikeout.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
4 in a row set down by Pivetta since those 2 singles to start the 4th. And here's Greinke, bases empty, 2 down. That's a handful right there.
Boy.
Bronco at 3rd. And he may run that over. Greinke already with his back to the play, but they completed. 5 in a row set down by Pivetta. 1-0 Phillies.
Conditioning and plumbing, cool plays of the game as we highlight the Diamondbacks defense, which really is on display here each and every night. somehow they have a knack for going out there and making the hard plays almost look routine. Torrey says that day in and day out that you just really don't expect the team to miss a play. And the players today were explaining to me just how effective that can be because they just don't give up those extra outs. That helps give pitchers good confidence out there on the mound. And it also helps the team to go out there and really just trust each other. They know that their teammates have these plays. They can make things happen. They're saving games by not allowing runs, saving the runs, giving them opportunities like last night late in the game to strike back. And although the headlines might be all about the offense, this team said their lead story is all about the defense and the way they can go out there and have that ability to make things happen. And the players told me, hands down, they have a lot of pride in that, especially, you guys know, Nick Ahmed.
Yeah, it really shows up, Kate. You hit it to some of these guys and it's an out. It's that simple. There's a curveball to Santana. Well, Greinke coming off a 7-pitch fifth. Nick Pivetta just had an 8-pitch inning. And Greinke, ever since the Williams homer that made it 1-0, has retired 9 straight. And he jumps ahead of Carlos Santana 0-2. And now Escobar will change places with Ahmed, as per usual against the left-hand batter. Well, Kate's right, Bobby. I mean, Torrey says that all the time. You hit the ball to Nick Ahmed, it's an out. You hit it to Marte, it's an out. You hit it to Goldie, it's an out. Pollock's going to chase down everything in center. Peralta's going to get to everything in the gap. Same with Souza.
And nothing gets by the catchers behind the plate.
Yeah, as you pointed out. It just becomes routine after a while, and that's the wrong word to use because these are not routine plays.
Well, and that's the part of the game that you really have to work at. Batting practice is fun. Guys like to get in the cage and swing the bats and have a good time, but defense requires some physical exertion and some work. And the Diamondbacks, well, we see them every day. Even on the days they don't take batting practice, they're out here taking ground balls.
Yeah, Kate has more on that.
Yeah, guys, they certainly don't take their abilities for granted. Like you said, they're still putting the time in. But one thing I think Torrey has said a lot of times after games, you're not surprised by this team by the tremendous plays that are out there. You're more surprised if a play doesn't happen. And usually those plays that don't happen, he has the confidence that no one could have made that play.
2-2 on the Phillies first baseman. Big slow curveball at 65. The eephus. That's 4 strikeouts for Zach Greinke. He has set down 10 straight Phillies.
As if the pitch itself wasn't enough to fool Santana right there. Zach Greinke had a couple little hiccups in his delivery. He paused a couple of different times before throwing that big slow curveball. Got Santana way out in front. A little pause right there at the top. Another little pause as he extends that left foot toward his target and then rolled that curveball up there.
He was so far out front he almost fell over. Here's Cabrera. He's walked and grounded out. Fastball misses in. Greinke still pretty good velocity on that fastball. We've seen a lot more consistent 91s in his recent starts. Shift is on again. Fastballs a strike, 2-1. Zach so far has walked 4. He struck out 4. He walked 4 of the first 10 batters he faced tonight. He really did not seem to have it at all very early in the ball game. Then gave up that Williams homer to start the 3rd. And that is the Phillies' first base hit since. A 1-out single for Asdrubal Cabrera. Just the 3rd hit for Philadelphia. Brings up Odubel Herrera. So here's Odubel 0 for 2. Herrera had a couple of hits last night. Had that big RBI triple that opened the scoring in the 7th inning. off of Zach Godley. Boy, Zach Godley was terrific last night, wasn't he? There's O'Doul, that helmet down over his eyes. 0-1. He almost clipped Mathis with that bat too. Jeff had to lean out of the way there. Throw to first, and as Jubal's back in time. Talked about this last night with Odubel Herrera. When he's in the batter's box, I can't remember ever seeing a batter get 1 foot on each line in the box like Herrera does. He spreads way out, and each foot steps on one of the batting lines, which is look at this.
Yeah, left foot on the inside line. He went all the way over to the outside line.
Covers the entire box like that. Then that front foot will come in toward home plate right there. There's a curveball that missed. Try the eephus again. Well, that's quite a stance.
Herrera does an awful lot of things on the field that you probably wouldn't teach a young player just starting out in the game, but he's found things that work for him. They're very unusual. They're unique. But they work for him.
David Peralta. Herrera 0 for 3. Here comes Michael Franco.
Yeah, the sequence started with a straight changeup down low and away. We mentioned good low ball hitter. He will chase lower than low. Misses up high with a fastball and a curveball, but then a groove 90-mile-an-hour fastball gets a lazy pop up to David Peralta out in left field. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
See Zach really settled in that 9-pitch fourth. 7-pitch fifth. Now 2 down for Franco, who's 0 for 2. What a difference from Greinke. You get that 67-mile-an-hour curveball, and he follows up with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Boy, they got him picked off. Yes, they do. Cabrera is out. Mathis threw down there earlier, and that time they got him. Let's see. Gabe Kapler saying, hold on, we want to check. As Drupal Cabrera wandered a little too far off the bag that time. And no challenge from the Phillies. Here's a look.
The throw was into foul territory. Oh, yeah.
Still 1-0.
At first base. Get a look at it after this pitch to David Peralta. The throw is a little bit into foul territory. One thing to watch, Goldie's left foot, he keeps it on the bag so he has some idea where the base is when he wheels around to apply the tag. And we'll show you another angle. He got him, no doubt about it.
CB Bucknor in perfect position to make the call.
Yeah, this is a definitive view. Foot comes up short, tag applied to the left knee. I think he even gets his foot again when it comes off the bag a second time. He's out twice.
How about CB jumping back into position there? That was well done. 1-1 on David. Peralta has struck out and single. D-backs about hit the Phillies 5-3, but they trail it 1-0. David coming off his 4-hit game last night. His second 4-hit game this month. Pivetta now at 85 pitches. Goldie on deck, then A.J. Pollock. Foul tip. Alfaro hangs on. Full count, 3-2. Got him. 6 strikeouts for Pivetta, 1 down.
Pavetta's still carrying that high velocity into the latter portion of the game here. Just rushes a high fastball by David up and out over the plate.
Goldie has singled and popped up. Pavetta's now retired 6 in a row. Bounced up the middle. Cesar Hernandez makes a terrific play. The second baseman over on the shortstop side of the bag, 2 down.
Occasionally a second baseman moving to that side of the field won't have enough arm to make this play, but Cesar Hernandez plants that right foot, throws a one-hopper across to Carlos Santana just in time to get Goldie.
And the Phillies, as we've mentioned, according to some of the metrics, are the worst defensive team in baseball, but that was a nice play there by Hernandez. 2 down for AJ. Singled his last time up. They leave the shift on.
Hey, Sun Devil fans, ASU night here at Chase Field is just a few weeks away. Show your school pride on Tuesday, August 21st. Get a custom D-backs ASU cap, a discounted baseline reserve ticket for just $25 with a special event ticket pack. Visit dbacks.com/ASU for more info.
Saw those new ASU football uniforms that came out with the Arizona State flag kind of embedded into the red material. They look really cool. Herm Edwards' first season. That's going to be fun. Nick Pivetta trying to get through 6 scoreless innings. 25-year-old right-hander. Fastball under the chin. It's 2-2 on AJ.
Alfaro wanted that fastball up, sitting high in his crouch back there. He gets it up just off the inside corner.
92 pitches, 62 strikes. Escobar hoping to get a chance here. Boy, really spiked that changeup. It was about a 50-foot changeup, if that. Full count, 3-2.
Wow. It was highly unusual.
Bullpen busy again for the Phillies. Luis Garcia, the right-hander. We saw him last night.
Seen some balls bounce in front of home plate from time to time. That one hit about halfway between the mound and home plate.
Tried the slider, and that's the first walk issued by Pivetta. Here comes Escobar. Eduardo singled his last time up. D-backs with 5 hits, all singles. AJ aboard down there for the second time tonight. Eduardo Escobar has now hit safely in 6 straight games and 8 of 9 since he was acquired in that trade with the Twins. He has hit the ground running in Arizona. This one is hit pretty deep left center field. Hoskins is there. And we are through 6. It's still 1-0 Philadelphia. Mercury take on the Indiana Fever. Tune in for your chance to receive 50% off tickets for upcoming games when a special code will be revealed during the broadcast. Mercury coverage begins Friday 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. You can find the Plus channel listings online at foxsportsarizona.com.
Tell them, Brittany, get out of my house.
Michael Franco leads off the 7th inning against Zach Greinke. Well, for a while there, Bob, didn't look like Zach would finish the requisite 5 with the pitch count way up there, but he has retired now. 11 of the last 12 Phillies he's faced. Franco 0 for 2. Zach has walked 4. He walked 4 of the first 10 batters he faced. He's also got 4 strikeouts now. He's given up only 3 hits. Right field for Steven Souza Jr. Jorge Alfaro has been up twice, struck out twice. Jeff Mathis will pay a visit. Torey Lovullo's ball club leading the National League West by a half game over the Dodgers. Mike Butcher will get out there and join them. Dodgers tonight opening a 6-game road trip with the first of 2 in Oakland. And they lead the A's 3-0 in the 5th inning right now. After 2 in Oakland, the Dodgers will play 4 at Colorado. That starts Thursday. The Rockies were home against Pittsburgh tonight. Pirates beat them 10-2. And the Giants this afternoon had a 1-0 lead over the Astros late. But the bullpen let it get away, and Houston beat San Francisco 2-1. So the Rockies have lost. The Giants have lost. And the Dodgers are winning in the 5th. Jake Diekman, the left-hander, starts to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen.
Oh, by the way, Boston Red Sox picked up their 80th victory of the season tonight.
How about that, huh?
80-34.
10-7 winners at the Rogers Center in Toronto.
Had to come from behind and win that one in extra innings. J.D. Martinez with another bomb.
They're chasing those 2001 Seattle Mariners. Not a great offensive night for the catchers, I hate to point out to you, but Alfaro struck out twice swinging. Mathis has struck out twice looking.
See, the catchers would probably tell you, look at the scoreboard, though. 8 combined hits.
And they'd have a very good point.
That's one good thing about being a catcher. If you have a rough night at the plate offensively, but you feel like you helped your pitching staff get through a game and ultimately come away with a win, an 0 for doesn't hurt quite as bad.
Well, Pavetta's spot in the order is due up next, and Roman Quinn is in the on-deck circle for the Phillies. The switch hitter. 2-0 on Jorge Alfaro. So it looks like Pavetta is done. There's a good slider from Greinke. 2-1. Escobar right to him. So Quinn will hit for Pavetta. Roman Quinn 6 for 19 this year. He's only played in 8 games with the Phillies. He walked and struck out in a pair of plate appearances last night. Starts him out with a curveball. Greinke has given up just 1 hit since Nick Williams' home run that led off the 3rd. That was Cabrera's 1-out single in the 6th. D-backs have out hit Philadelphia 5-3, but still trail at 1-0. Greinke 100 pitches, only 59 for strikes. The command was not there early. You can see that 1st and 2nd inning he really had to work. But ever since the Williams homer, he has settled in big time. This is bounced to 2nd for Marte. And Greinke has retired 14 of the last 15, but trails it 1-0.
Chase Field. Collect the final bobblehead this season on September 8th. The first 20,000 fans to the D-backs Braves game will take home the Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead, courtesy of Pepsi. You must add this one to the collection partner. Visit dbacks.com for more info.
Love the baubles. Well, Nick Pavetta's night ends. Here is the right-hander Luis Garcia on to start the bottom of the 7th inning. We saw Garcia in the 9th last night after Souza had the RBI single that tied it. And Steven will lead off the 7th here. D-backs offense has to get going here. Phillies with 3 infielders on the third base side. There's a slider, 0-1. Diamondbacks in the last 29 innings have scored only 5 runs. And just like Zach Godley last night, Zach Greinke was terrific here tonight after a very shaky start. Greinke gave up the Nick Williams home run that made it 1-0 Phillies to start the 3rd, and then retired 14 of the next 15 he faced. He walked 4, struck out 4. Souza has struck out looking and hit into a double play tonight. He's 0 for 2. Had a couple of hits last night. Had a double, that big game tying single in the 9th. Ahead here, 2 balls and 1 strike. Yikes. Well, 3-2. Marte on deck, then it's Nick Ahmed.
You see a guy throw a slider like that, almost missed the left-handed batter's box. It makes you think, yeah, maybe I ought to sit on a fastball, but we'll see what Garcia goes with here.
Reaches down and tries to dunk it into left center, and it drops in. He went with a slider. And Souza's aboard to start the 7th.
Yeah, Garcia started this sequence with a slider for a swinging strike, and then a couple of fastballs off the plate inside. High velocity fastballs at that. A foul ball on a slider that was hanging up in his eyes. That's the one we're trying to identify. And then an 86-mile-an-hour slider in the zone that he floats out into left center for a base hit. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
6 hit for the D-backs. Here's Marte, who has singled and popped up. Franco coming in from 3rd. There's a fastball down and away at 98, 0-1. Ketel's now hit safely in 6 straight games. Leads the majors with 10 triples. D-backs have Escobar and Marte leading all of baseball in doubles and triples, respectively. There's another crazy slider. It's 1-1. Phillies bullpen will stay busy. There's the left-hander Adam Morgan. Archie Bradley starts to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Both Morgan and Archie pitched last night, but then again, who didn't? There's a split that Garcia pulls out of nowhere. Marte saw fastball all the way. Swung over the top. It's 1-2.
Well, Chase Field has always been known as a hitter's park, but it should be known as a triples park. For the last 5 years, they've either had the most triples in the majors. The one year they were second by 1 triple back in 2015. But 2014, 16, 17, and so far this year, they've given up the most triples in this ballpark.
Tried another split, 2-2. Ahmed will be next. It's a fly ball. Deep right field. Williams at the track. He's got it. Souza back to the bag at first. One down for Ahmed. Nick has grounded out twice, 0 for 2. Talked to Nick for a long time today, shooting our Cup of Coffee episode, and Bob, he agreed with what I told him you and I had said. Recently, up at the plate looks a lot less robotic, a lot less mechanical, and much more athletic. And he said, yeah, that was right on. Trying to get more athletic with his swing.
One thing Nick has done extremely well this year is handle low pitches. He really uses his legs to get down on level with that low pitch and drive it usually to his pull field.
Ahmed in his last 16 games is hitting .353 with 19 runs batted in. Diekman the lefty, Bradley the right-hander. Mathis is on deck, pitcher spot behind him. Squirts one to first. Santana's got it. Cabrera turns it. That's the third double play the D-backs have hit into tonight. The second for Ahmed. We're through 7. In their last dozen games, the double plays they've hit into 3 tonight, starting to pile up. And here comes Souza in on his Drupal Cabrera. Right to the bag. Cabrera kind of had a little fun with him. We saw Steven go in hard earlier this year on Max Muncy, the Dodgers at third, and Javier Baez at second of the Cubs. Cabrera having some yucks. So all is well.
Yeah, clean and hard, straight into the bag, but go in there hard, make a lot of noise.
He does that, Steven.
Yeah.
Steven makes a lot of noise everywhere. 6'4", 225 bearing down on you. Left-hander Jake Diekman is on to start the 8th inning. Cesar Hernandez will flip around and bat from the right-hand side against the D-back lefty.
I'll tell you what, you pitch 7 innings, give up 3 hits and 1 run, you should have a chance to win a ball game. But unfortunately, the D-backs offense just couldn't get anything going against Nick Pivetta tonight.
3 double plays certainly did not help. And Hernandez slaps that one foul, 1-1. Hernandez is a switch hitter. He's right around 260 from either side, but nearly all his power comes as a left-hand batter. He has singled, walked, and grounded out tonight. 1 for 2. He leads the majors in bunt base hits. Diekman, low throw. It gets behind Goldie. It rolls way up the line. Hernandez heads for third. Souza, look out. It's over Escobar's head. And Hernandez on a bunt will come all the way around. They had a play at third. Souza's got a cannon for an arm, but that one went into the stands. It started with Diekman. It finished with Souza. 2 errors by the Diamondbacks on that one play.
I'm guessing they'll give Hernandez a base hit. That's 1 error right there on Diekman, throwing it down the right field line. I thought Souza really had this one lined up to get an easy out at third base. Hernandez taking a couple peeks over his shoulder, picked up his third base coach, and that throws on line. They get him at third base, but it's not on line.
So make it 2-0 Phillies. Hernandez covers all 4 bags on a bunt attempt. Here's Rhys Hoskins.
And that's 1 physical error, 1 mental error that time for Jake Diekman. He threw the ball away at first base and then stood in the middle of the infield and watched the rest of the play rather than run over and back up third base.
Well, as we saw, Souza certainly has the arm to try and make that play. He had a chance to get Hernandez at third perhaps, but just airmailed it over the head of Escobar.
I stand corrected. Apparently that's straight E1 on Diekman to allow Hernandez to reach first. And then the throwing error by Souza allows him to score.
Two balls and a strike on Rhys Hoskins. They'll make it 3-1, and now there's ball 4. National League scores. Mentioned the Giants blew a late lead at home. Rockies were crushed at home by the Pirates, and the Dodgers lead 3-0 in Oakland. D-backs a half game ahead of LA. It's off the NL West. Here comes Mike Butcher. So far a throwing error and a base on balls for Diekman. Still nobody out. Nick Williams is the hitter. He homered in the third.
Catch the D-backs versus Angels right here at Chase Field with the D-backs value pack. Get a game ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi for just $25. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value.
Escobar will come in a step or two at third base. Goldie holding Hoskins on the bag at first. Here's Williams. His home run in the third. His 16th of the year off Zach Greinke. There's a fastball for a strike. Williams has homered twice this year against left-handers. He's about a .260 hitter versus lefties.
A little bit of an oddity in a minor league game tonight, partner. The Indianapolis Indians, in a 12-5 victory over the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, had 2 guys hit for the cycle in the same game.
Wow. Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, that's the Phillies AAA affiliate.
Kevin Newman and Jacob Stallings both hit for the cycle in the same game.
Hello, Newman. Peralta has it drop in front. Couldn't quite get to it. And Hoskins moves into second. Base hit for Williams. He muscled that one out there.
Right in on Williams' fist that time. Just fought it off out into shallow left field.
Still no outs in the inning. A run is in. 2 runners on. And here's Santana 0 for 3. He'll turn around and bat right-handed. Hoskins at second, Williams at first, no outs. She gets that slider in there, 0-1. Another switch hitter on deck is Drupal Cabrera. Well, the D-backs trailed late 2-0 last night. We all know what happened. They've still out-hit the Phillies 6-4. Got to throw. Santana strikes. He's second in the league in walks behind only Bryce Harper. He does not chase bad pitches. Yikes. Yanked the slider and it's 3-1. Almost hit him.
I'll tell you, Santana has enough pine tar on that bat to add a couple of ounces. That is a thick layer of pine tar on that bat.
Let's Tim McClelland him right out of here. He was the ump in the infamous Pine Tar game. Pine Tar game just had its anniversary now a week or so ago, as I recall. Fastball down and away. That hard sink at 96. It's full 3-2. Santana, another guy that works the count. He's top 10 in the league in pitches per at bat. And he's running full here, 3-2. Cabrera on deck. Brad Ziegler starts to get loose in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Archie Bradley had been up earlier.
I think that pine tar probably extends beyond the 18-inch limit in the rule book.
You think?
From the bat handle to where that pine tar stops on the barrel, can't be more than 18 inches.
Now, if I recall, I think that's not something the umpires can do on their own. They have to wait for the opposing manager to request that they check or look into it. And if the manager doesn't say anything, the umpires just let it go.
I don't really see how it's a competitive advantage for the hitter to have the pine tar that far up the barrel. I mean, the ball might actually stick to the bat.
Or his shirt. Diekman really working hard here. Another 3-2 pitch. He missed with a slider. And 2 throwing errors on 1 bunt attempt. A walk, a single, and a walk have brought in a run. Now they're loaded. Still no outs. And here's Cabrera. Cabrera has walked and singled tonight. Hoskins is at third. Williams at second. Santana at first. We got a left-hander on deck in Odubel Herrera. Torey Lovullo will stick with the lefty Diekman here. Fastball away, but he gets the call from Shane Livensparger. 0-1. There's Torey. Ziegler warming up in the pen. Well, Cabrera, I don't know if it's because he's a Philly now. He came over from the Mets and he picked up a kind of a Jim Thome thing, but he does that Thome bat point as the pitcher's looking in for the sign. Remember that? There's a statue in Cleveland of Jim Thome doing that, holding the bat fully extended out with his arm just like that. It's a fly ball, deep right field. Souza at the track, and it's off the wall. Hoskins scores. Williams is behind. They stop Santana at third. A two-run double for Cabrera, and it's 4-0 Philadelphia. A rough night here for Jake Diekman. And that is career hit number 1,500 for Asdrubal Cabrera.
Yeah, Diekman able to jump ahead with a couple of fastballs. The first one maybe a little bit off the plate, gets a foul ball on that slider, and then an elevated fastball at 95 out of the strike zone up and away, and Cabrera drives it out to that gap in front of the Ram Trucks pool, pushing the Phillies lead to 4-0.
Cabrera a walk, a single, a two-run double. He's had a good night. Infield comes in now as Diekman faces Odubel Herrera. Odubel 0 for 3.
Pitch by pitch, obviously brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Still no outs in the 8th. Diekman, one of the few guys, along with Brad Ziegler, who did not pitch in the game last night. Tap back to the mound. Look, Santana back to the bag at third, and they get the first out. Now here comes the right-hand batting Maikel Franco, and here comes Torey Lovullo. Well, some defensive miscues didn't help. Couple of walks, a two-run double, 4-0 in the 8th. Ziegler on his way in, back after this. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. The series finale tomorrow afternoon. Getaway day here at 12:40 start. Vince Velasquez, the right-hander, against lefty Patrick Corbin. D-backs live pregame show at high noon on Fox Sports Arizona. Brad Ziegler on to face Maikel Franco. Infield still in for the Diamondbacks. One out, runners at second and third. And 3 runs already in. Franco tonight 0 for 3.
Three straight frisbee sliders from Brad Ziegler in this at bat. And we know Brad is a ground ball machine, but this is one situation where you'd really like to see an out without the ball being put into play. Either a strikeout, possibly a pop-up on the infield. With the D-backs defense drawn in, those ground balls have a tendency to scoot through quickly. Maybe that's why we're seeing all these sliders from Brad Ziegler. He's trying to get a swing and a miss rather than the weak contact he usually looks for.
Franco, as we talked about last night, has had much better plate discipline lately. He doesn't chase everything quite the way he used to. In fact, since the middle of June, he's had more walks than strikeouts. Lays off another one. 2-2. The catcher Jorge Alfaro on deck. Santana's the runner at third. Cabrera, after his 2-run doubles, down there at second. 2-2 on Michael Franco. Lays off another one. Now it's full. Franco had a couple of singles and a walk in last night's game. He's got 13 hits in his last 9 games. Here's the 3-2 from Ziegler. Popped it up. And now Alfaro will hit.
Catcher, Jorge Alfaro.
It's a short bench for Gabe Kapler. Pitcher spot behind Alfaro. Andrew Knapp, the backup catcher, has come out in the on-deck circle. Alfaro tonight 0 for 3, struck out twice. The way we've seen Alfaro swing the bat in this series, this might be an overmatch. I'm not sure he can defend himself against Ziegler. 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 3 tonight.
If this was perhaps a little bit earlier in the ball game, you might walk Alfaro just to force Gabe Kapler's hand, make him use another one of his bench players. He only had 3 guys available off the bench tonight. He's already used 1 and has Knapp in the on-deck circle right now.
Well, Alfaro rolls one into left. That gets Santana home, and it's 5-0. So a win there for Jorge Alfaro, the RBI single. A 4-run Phillies 8th.
That sinking fastball just caught a little bit too much of the strike zone that time. Inside part, hard ground ball gets through into left.
Well, we saw Andrew Knapp as a pinch hitter last night, the backup catcher. He hit into a double play, that big double play that Matt Andriese induced to end the ninth. Knapp just 3 for his last 23 at the plate. Nearly all of that coming off the bench. There's a look at the D-back defense. Oh, 0-2. D-backs in the home half of the 8th inning. We'll have Jeff Mathis due up, then the pitcher spot. And then David Peralta, 8-9-1. Each team now with 6 hits. Andrew Knapp, the 9th man to bat in the Phillies' 8th. And there goes Alfaro, the catcher, running on the pitch.
It might have been an optical illusion, but Alfaro really got down the line quickly back in the 7th inning. He hit a hard ground ball right to Escobar at third base. Looked like it should have been a routine play at first, and Alfaro made it close.
He's got that catcher speed. Goldie's got it. But the Phillies send 9 men to the plate in the 8th. 4 score. They lead it 5-0.
Rough top of the 8th there for the pen. Jody Jackson alongside with Brandon Webb as we get set for our postgame show. D-backs Live presented by CenturyLink. And you know what, though? You know, maybe some late magic here tonight, which would be terrific. But early on in this game and so far, not a lot of offense again, Brandon.
Yeah, not really at all. And Zach Greinke on a night where you may not see his name pop up too much, battled through a high pitch count, 4 walks early in the game, got himself through 7 innings, did a great job, and just got to see if they can score some runs now late in the game.
Yeah, no question. Zach Greinke, as you mentioned, he won't be mentioned with this game, but 7 innings, 1 run, outstanding performance. All right, stay with us for the post-game show right after the game, guys.
Thank you, guys. There's your Gila River game summary. As Webby mentioned, Greinke tonight walked 4 of the first 10 batters he faced. Gave up the Williams homer to lead off the 3rd, then set down 14 of the final 15 he faced. But the Phillies, with that 4-run 8th, have taken a 5-0 lead. Jeff Mathis will lead it off now for the Diamondbacks against the new pitcher. For the Phillies, the left-hander Aaron Loop, who they picked up from the Blue Jays at the trade deadline. Pitcher spot up next. Descalso in the on deck circle. Then it's David Peralta. Aaron Loup, a longtime Toronto Blue Jay. Appeared in 369 games with the Jays. That's 7th on Toronto's all-time list.
Loup has a little dipsy-do with that front foot.
A loop, if you will.
Yeah, a loop, if you will. Anything to distract the hitter, disrupt his timing a little bit. Watch that front foot as he gets ready to deliver.
Mathis gets it started. Tell you what, Jeff Mathis has now hit safely in 10 of his last 11 starts behind the plate.
A 91-mile-an-hour fastball, cued it off the end of the bat, but gets enough to muscle it out there in the left field for a leadoff knock. Got to start somewhere.
Well, they got to the Philly bullpen last night, certainly. And here's Descalso. Daniel batting .261, 9 homers. He got the start at second base in last night's marathon. Descalso versus lefties this year, .275 with 3 home runs. And his batting average as a pinch hitter in 33 plate appearances is .333. Got another sinker up, and it's 1-2. Oakland trying to come back on the Dodgers. It's now 3-2 LA. Dodgers had led that one 3-0. They're still in the 6th inning in Oakland. Rockies lost at home to the Pirates. Giants lost at home to Houston.
Valley native Chris Davis with his 32nd home run of the season for the A's to get them on the board tonight.
Oakland's becoming quite a story. One of the best teams in the major leagues. Almost out of nowhere, it seems. They got a fun team. We saw the 2 Mats on the corners earlier this year, Chapman and Olsen. Chris Davis doing his thing again, hitting a whole bunch of homers. Peralta, the leadoff man on deck. He singled in the 3rd. Left-hander TJ McFarland ready in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. TJ worked 2/3 of an inning last night. Descalso swing and a miss, 1 down.
Sweeping slider from Loup that time. Starts on the inside part of the plate, ends up off the plate, low and away. Big sweeping slider.
Peralta 1 for 3. Phillies have a right-hander warming up in their bullpen with Goldie on deck. One of the stories of last night's game was the fact that David Peralta hit that walk-off home run against a left-hand pitcher.
Yeah.
Homered off Davis, the Valley native. Punches that one down the line, but foul. Bam Bam Balderrama knocks it down. There's Robert, our Golden Glover, down the left field line. And the Hick Dog, Mark Hicks, is working right field tonight.
The Hick Dog saying, I hope they don't hit a line drive like that at me.
Know how he feels. Up the middle and through. Hit hard into center. Mathis stops at second. 2 on and 1 out for Goldie. Peralta's second hit tonight. Let's see if Dave Kapler wants to bring in a right-hander here. Here he comes. He's going to go to his righty. D-backs trying to get something going, down 5-0 in the 8th. Back after this. Debut of the local 9 as Todd sits down with Archie Bradley, Yoshi Hirano, and Mike Butcher to find out their favorite things to do and places to go away from the ballpark. It's D-backs Local 9 presented by CenturyLink Sunday after the D-backs and Reds on Fox Sports Arizona. Right-hander Victor Arano is on to face Goldie. 2 on 1 out. We saw Arano work the 10th and 11th innings last night. Threw 33 pitches to get 5 outs. He's had a good year, a 2.18 ERA.
Saw a lot of sliders from Arano in the game last night. He's right out with a first pitch slider for a called strike.
Just right on the knees too. Great location. Goldie single in the first, 1 for 3. He's got Mathis at second, Peralta at first, and 1 out. Buckled him a bit with that slider. It's 0-2. Fly ball to deep center field. And this one is off the wall. They're flying around the bases. Mathis is home. Peralta stops at third. RBI double for Goldie, and the Diamondbacks are on the board.
Absolutely smoked that ball to straightaway center field. The 3rd slider in a row from Arano, and Goldie gave it a ride to straightaway center. Any other part of the ballpark, possibly gets a little more carry. That one dies right out in front of the 407 mark. Mathis will score easily. David Peralta chugging into third base. Diamondbacks have it cooking here with 1 out in the 8th.
3rd hit in this inning. Here's AJ, who was singled and walked. Tap to third. Franco, it goes through him. Peralta scores, and it's 5-2. Michael Franco. It went behind him and into left.
And now the D-backs will get the tying run to the plate with 1 out.
Finally a twitch by the Phillies defense. Just didn't get the glove down to the ground. Goes right between the wickets on into left field. Peralta will score easily. Goldie had to hold up at second base until he saw what happened. Once it got behind Franco, he advances on to third.
Mound visit time for Rick Kranitz, the Phillies pitching coach. Escobar, the hitter. He's got Goldie at third base and A.J. Pollock at first. Still just 1 out. Well, as Webby always likes to say, they are the never say Diamondbacks. They were certainly that last night. And this one has picked up a similar feel. And Escobar, the way he's barreled up the baseball lately, he just may pop one out of here. He has singled. He's hit 2 loud fly ball outs in the ball game. .13 of his 15 homers coming as a left-hand batter. 0-1. Up the middle, right to Hernandez, and Cabrera. Wild throw, and yup, Santana kept the foot on the bag, says C.B. Bucknor. D-backs get 2. They trail it by 3. He walked for the first 10 he faced. Then Nick Williams hit a homer to lead off the third. From that point, Greinke was golden. He retired 14 of 15 after the Williams homer, which stood up for a long time. It was 1-0 through 7 innings here. Greinke really settled down nicely. But then it started the way his last start against the Giants went. It was a close game. He left. Jake Diekman had a throwing error. Souza another one on the same play. Hernandez scores all the way around on a bunt attempt. Then Cabrera gets a 2-run double off the wall. And the Phillies put up 4 in the 8th. And now T.J. McFarland is on to start the 9th. Daniel Descalso remains in the game, takes over at third for Eduardo Escobar. Here's Hernandez. So Escobar comes out. Descalso stays in the game. He will bat in the 9th spot. Pitcher spot is 4th for the Diamondbacks, and it's 0-2.
chopper for Nick Ahmed. Rhys Hoskins now. Hoskins still hitless in the series. He has walked twice tonight. D-backs have out-hit Philadelphia 9-6, but trail at 5-2. Diamondbacks tonight have committed 2 errors and hit into 4 double plays. Double plays ended the 2nd, the 7th, and the 8th innings for the D-backs. A total of 4 in all turned against them. And as we mentioned, this is the way that Zach Greinke's previous start had gone against the Giants. He left the game trailing the Giants and Madison Bumgarner 2-1 after 6. And then a Jake Diekman throwing error opened up the gates. Giants ended up winning. And the same thing happened tonight. He left down 1-0. And a Diekman error opened up the door for a 4-run Phillies 8th inning. And the offense, well, getting those 9 hits, as we mentioned, 4 double plays. The franchise record is 5 in one game. First time the Diamondbacks have grounded into 4 double plays in the same game since last August at Houston, which was the only time they did it last year. And there's a 1-out walk, third base on balls for Hoskins today. Brings up Williams, who homered in the 3rd.
It's so impressive for a young hitter like Rhys Hoskins not to expand his strike zone against a left-hander. TJ just kept sinking that fastball off the corner, low and away, low and away, and he refused to bite.
Hoskins sees more pitches per at bat than any player in the National League. Very patient hitter. TJ is always working at the knees or below. Gets the low strike call that time. 0-1. Diamondbacks in the 9th inning will have Souza, Marte, Ahmed due up 5, 6, and 7. Here's another good sinker from TJ, and it's 0-2. Chase to low ball. There's that sink. 2 down in the 9th. Here's Carlos Santana.
Yeah, Williams just didn't have a real good look at TJ McFarland that time. Everything down there below the bottom of the strike zone with movement.
That's where he lives. Santana walked and scored in the 8th. He's 0 for 3.
It's hard to believe that next year will be the anniversary of Woodstock back in 1969. Carlos doesn't look a bit older.
That's your favorite bit. Oye, ¿cómo va?
That's one of the few movies I have downloaded onto my iPad full time, so I can watch it whenever I want.
Woodstock is a movie?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What'd they do? Like they got the whole thing on film?
Concert video, most of it, not all of it.
You are the king of the concert video and the rockumentary.
One of the great drum solos in the history of live music. Michael Shreve, playing for Santana, was 19 years old at Woodstock.
No relation to Chasen Shreve.
I don't believe so. I think it's spelled differently.
Well, we got a lot of flights coming up. You're going to need those. Long road trip as we leave for Cincinnati in the off day Thursday. Go to Cincinnati, Texas, and San Diego. There's a bullet to Ahmed. Look at Nick. That one was hit awfully hard. So we hit the bottom of the ninth. Down 5-2. Steven Souza Jr., one of last night's heroes, will lead it off. Close it out for Philadelphia, 5-2 in the ninth inning. And Neshek, according to the Phillies, is believed to be the first player in baseball history to wear number 93.
How about that?
I'm sure spring training doesn't apply.
He's the first pitcher I've ever seen that features this particular delivery.
It's a hop, a step, a kick, and a jump, and then the underhand throw. It's a whole thing. Souza has struck out, heading into a double play and single. He'll lead it off in the ninth. This guy's been a tough pitcher for a long time, Pat Neshek. Gets the low strike call there on that slider. Well below the knees. Shift is on against Souza. Neshek missed much of the first half of the year with a right shoulder strain. Just came back on the 1st of July. And Steven hits a fly ball to center. Another late break from Herrera. We saw that last night drop in for a base hit for Peralta, one away.
Well, if you had Pat Neshek pitching to Odubel Herrera, it would look like two guys playing Twister.
I'm not sure there'd be any survivors. Ketel Marte singled in the second. He's 1 for 3. There's a sinker on the outer half for a strike. Brandon Webb, Jody Jackson standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game. Has Webby had any offers yet? After his outstanding performance in the alumni game, as this one goes to left center, and Herrera tracks it down.
Just from other teams that want him for their alumni game.
He's good for 2 batters. Well, Nick Ahmed, last man standing, 0 for 3. He's hit into 2 double plays. Diamondbacks have grounded into 4 double plays tonight. A season high. Jeff Mathis due up next. John Jay's in the on deck circle. Should Ahmed reach? Nick trying to bunt his way on. Neshek's got it. And the Phillies even the series of the game apiece. A 4-run 8th inning leads to a 5-2 D-backs loss. And they'll look for a win in the rubber game tomorrow afternoon.
Gotta find a way to get that offense going earlier in the ball game. Last night the Diamondbacks didn't score through the first 8 innings of the game. Tonight no runs through the first 7. Gotta find a way to wake up that offense.
Yeah, they out hit the Phillies 9-6, but they lose it 5-2. Webby standing by with Jody.
Yeah, there's no question that the big difference between last night and tonight is that, you know, the Diamondbacks offense, while it came late against their closer in the 9th,
right.
Tonight obviously giving up those 4 runs in the 8th didn't allow the Diamondbacks to be close enough to make it a game.
Yeah, it almost takes the wind out of you. You know, almost too far. You almost feel too far with not enough time. They, you know, they ran out of time with how much they had. Again, it was kind of a lopsided game. The Phillies looked really good offensively and defensively, and so did the Diamondbacks. Didn't look too great all around, but a tough loss tonight. Hopefully they can come back and get one tomorrow to have another chance.
Yeah, unfortunately before those 2 errors in the 8th, some great defense though by this team behind Zach Greinke here tonight, and Greinke battling over 7 innings to just give up the 1 homer. We'll have reaction from the clubhouse with Kate Longworth. We'll hear from the manager Tori Labello. It's all coming your way next on the postgame show.